Listen closely because in 2026, some of the most commonly owned handguns in the United States could face major legal restrictions. Several states are already tightening firearm laws, with popular pistol models now under increased scrutiny. At the federal level, lawmakers are once again pushing proposals aimed at limiting high-capacity handguns, and more states appear ready to follow. This isn't a niche issue. It has the potential to affect millions of responsible gun owners across the country. Subscribe now because in this video, I'm breaking down 10 widely owned pistols that are currently being targeted, what the proposed changes really mean, and how they could impact lawful ownership in the years ahead. Number 10. Springfield Armory XDM. Imagine walking into your local gun shop and being told that one of the most trusted pistols on the range is no longer legal to buy. It sounds extreme, but for XDM owners, that possibility is becoming very real. The Springfield Armory XDM has long been a staple in competitive shooting. For years, it's earned respect in USPSA and IDPA circles, thanks to its consistent accuracy, smooth trigger, and durability under heavy use. Many law enforcement officers have also relied on the XDM as a backup pistol, and countless everyday Americans trust it for home defense and concealed carry because of one simple reason: it runs reliably. Where things get complicated is the changing legal landscape. New state-level proposals are increasingly focused on polymer-framed pistols that ship with magazines holding more than 10 rounds. The XDM's standard 19-round magazine places it squarely in that spotlight. States such as California and Illinois have introduced or expanded definitions around so-called high-capacity handguns, and the XDM fits those criteria straight out of the box. As a result, a pistol once praised for its capacity and performance may face tighter restrictions, reduced capacity compliance versions, or complications with future transfers and magazine ownership. Pros: these: match-grade accuracy suitable for competition, high magazine capacity for defensive use, proven reliability in professional and civilian roles, smooth trigger that supports precise shot placement, interchangeable backstraps for a customized grip. Cons: magazine capacity makes it a legislative target. Polymer frame often included in restrictive firearm definitions. Compliant models may require reduced capacity magazines. Potential legal hurdles for ownership, transfer, and magazines. Reduced capacity can limit defensive advantages. Typical price range, $400 to $600. The XDM remains a highly capable pistol, but its future availability may depend less on performance and more on politics. Number 9. Beretta 92 FS. For more than 3 decades, this pistol served as the standard sidearm of the United States military. Now, some lawmakers are pushing policies that could restrict ownership of the very firearm trusted by the citizens those service members were sworn to protect. Adopted in 1985, the Beretta 92 FS replaced the iconic 1911 and went on to be designated as the M9. It was carried through major conflicts including Desert Storm, Iraq, Afghanistan, and numerous other deployments where reliability wasn't optional. It was a matter of survival. When many veterans returned home, they chose to purchase the civilian version of the same handgun they carried overseas. They didn't buy it for nostalgia. They bought it because they had already proven its performance under extreme stress and harsh environments. Today, the Beretta 92 FS faces new challenges, not mechanical, but legal. Proposed federal and state-level regulations are increasingly focused on semi-automatic handguns with magazines holding more than 10 rounds. The standard 15-round 9mm magazine places the 92 FS directly within that scope. In addition, states such as New York and Connecticut have broadened their definitions of restricted firearms to include pistols equipped with threaded barrels. Several 92 FS variants are manufactured with threaded barrels designed to accept suppressors or muzzle devices, which further increases legal risk depending on jurisdiction. What was once a symbol of military reliability may soon become difficult or impossible to own in certain states. Pros: proven military service history spanning over 35 years. Standard 15-round capacity, suitable for defensive use. Smooth and familiar double-action/single action trigger system. Exceptional durability with all-metal construction. Ergonomic design, especially comfortable for larger hands. Cons: military lineage makes it a political target. Threaded barrel variants may fall under assault weapon statutes. Magazine capacity exceeds common 10-round limits. Future resale and transfers may face legal complications. Heavy weight limits, practicality for concealed carry. Typical price range, $500 to $700. The Beretta 92FS isn't being questioned for its performance, only its place in an evolving legal landscape. Number 8. CZP-10C. European firearm design is increasingly colliding with American gun policy, and the CZP-10C now sits squarely at that intersection. Developed by CZ as a striker-fired compact pistol, the P-10C was built from the ground up to compete directly with Glock in the US concealed carry and duty market. In several areas, many shooters argue CZ got it right, especially when it comes to the trigger. Out of the box, the P-10C is widely regarded as having a cleaner break and more consistent feel than many comparable striker-fired pistols. Concealed carriers value the P-10C for its practical proportions. It strikes an effective balance, compact enough for daily carry, yet large enough to provide control, accuracy, and confidence at the range or in defensive scenarios. The standard 15-round magazine offers strong capacity without adding unnecessary bulk or causing excessive printing under everyday clothing. Where challenges arise for the P-10C has little to do with its performance. As a foreign-manufactured handgun, it faces added exposure under proposed federal regulations that include provisions aimed at limiting the importation of higher-capacity pistols produced outside the United States. That places firearms like the P-10C under greater regulatory pressure than similar domestically made alternatives. At the state level, the landscape is tightening as well. In places like Colorado, expanded transfer laws now require most semi-automatic handgun transactions to be processed through licensed federal firearms dealers. What were once simple private transfers now involve additional fees, waiting periods, and paperwork, even between family members or longtime friends. None of these restrictions change how the CZP-10C operates or performs. However, they significantly impact how easily it can be purchased, transferred, or resold in the years ahead. Pros: excellent trigger, often preferred over Glock competitors. Compact dimensions, ideal for concealed carry. High quality manufacturing with tight tolerances. 15-round capacity in a well-balanced frame. Aggressive grip texture for secure handling. Cons: foreign manufacturing increases vulnerability to import restrictions. Magazine capacity exceeds limits in restrictive states. Transfer laws add cost, delays, and complexity. Parts availability may suffer during import disruptions. Resale value uncertain as regulations continue to evolve. Typical price range, $400 to $550. The question many owners are asking is simple. Should a pistol face restrictions based on where it was made when it operates no differently than one produced domestically? Number 7. Sig Sauer P320. The Sig Sauer P320 is the pistol that won the US military contract to replace the Beretta, becoming the official M17 and M18 service sidearms. Now that same handgun is facing regulations that could prevent civilian sales in multiple states. The P320 changed the handgun industry with its modular architecture. Instead of a traditional fixed frame, the serialized fire control unit can be dropped into different grip modules, slides, and barrel lengths. This allows one core firearm to be configured for duty use, competition, or concealed carry, all without purchasing an entirely new pistol. That flexibility is exactly why military and law enforcement agencies adopted it so quickly. Police departments nationwide transitioned to the P320 because it offers proven reliability, modern capacity, and the ability to fit officers with different hand sizes using interchangeable grip modules rather than issuing different guns. Where the P320 runs into trouble is legislation, not performance. California's micro-stamping requirement effectively blocks the sale of most new semi-automatic pistols. The P320 does not use this technology because in real-world testing, micro-stamping has proven unreliable. The concept relies on stamping a unique identifier onto spent cartridge cases, but the markings wear quickly, can be defeated with minimal effort, and would require a complete redesign of firing pin systems, something no major manufacturer has been able to implement at scale. As a result, pistols like the P320 are restricted not because they are unsafe, but because they don't comply with a technology mandate that hasn't proven practical. Pro's fully modular design allows multiple configurations, selected by the US military as its standard service pistol, 17-round capacity in full-size models, strong accuracy and long-term reliability. Record, easily adaptable to different shooters and hand sizes. Cons: micro-stamping laws block new sales in certain states. Magazine capacity exceeds restrictive state limits. Modular design complicates legal classifications. Replacement parts and modules may face restrictions. Future customization could become legally uncertain. Typical price range: $500 to $700. Number 6. Smith & Wesson M&P 9M 2.0. One of the best-selling pistols in American history is now being mentioned directly in proposed federal legislation. If you own a Smith & Wesson M&P 9M 2.0, this is something you need to pay close attention to. For years, the M&P line has steadily taken market share from Glock, and not by accident. Smith & Wesson paid attention to shooter feedback and delivered meaningful improvements. Better ergonomics, a refined trigger system, and an aggressive grip texture that maintains control even when hands are wet or sweaty. Law enforcement adoption of the M&P platform is extremely high. Entire police departments have transitioned away from other brands because officers consistently shoot the M&P more accurately and find it more comfortable in duty use. That same confidence carries over to the civilian market. Competitive shooters run it in USPSA matches. Homeowners rely on it for defensive scenarios, and concealed carriers choose the compact variants because they're easy to carry without sacrificing performance. The problem isn't performance, it's politics. Recent legislative proposals specifically target semi-automatic pistols with magazine capacities exceeding 10 rounds. The standard M&P 9M 2.0 ships with a 17-round magazine, placing it squarely within the scope of these restrictions. Pros: and 17-round capacity well suited for defensive use, excellent ergonomics compared to many competitors, proven reliability through widespread law enforcement adoption, aggressive grip texture enhances recoil control, multiple frame sizes available to fit different hand sizes. Cons: mentioned directly in proposed federal legislation, magazine capacity exceeds restrictive state limits. Accessory rail may trigger expanded assault weapon definitions, restricted or unavailable under certain state handgun rosters. Future resale and transfers could face legal barriers. Typical price range: $450 to $600. When entire police departments select this pistol because their officers shoot it better and trust it more, the real question becomes simple. Should everyday citizens be denied access to the same level of reliability and performance? Number 5. FN509. Originally designed by a well-known European defense manufacturer for US military trials, the FN509 now finds itself caught in the middle of America's shifting firearms regulations. This pistol faces pressure from two directions at once: potential import restrictions and expanding magazine capacity limits that could push it out of the civilian market entirely. The 509 was developed as a serious contender in the military handgun evaluations that ultimately selected a different platform. Even so, many experienced shooters quickly noticed that this pistol brought some real advantages to the table. Its lower bore axis helps reduce muzzle rise, the factory trigger is better than what many competitors offer out of the box, and its reliability remains consistent even in harsh or dirty conditions. The FN509 built a strong following among shooters who wanted an alternative to the polymer pistols that dominate most gun store shelves. Backed by a long-standing reputation for military-grade manufacturing, buyers felt confident they were choosing a duty-level defensive handgun rather than a budget compromise. However, being produced outside the United States adds an extra layer of risk. Proposed federal language increasingly focuses on restricting foreign-made, military-style handguns, placing pistols like the 509 squarely in the spotlight. On top of that, states such as Washington have enacted magazine limits that prohibit detachable magazines holding more than 10 rounds. With a standard 17-round magazine, the FN 509 immediately falls afoul of those rules. Pros: lower bore axis helps reduce muzzle flip, high-quality manufacturing, and tight tolerances. 17-round standard capacity for defensive use. Strong reliability in adverse conditions. Better factory trigger than many competing pistols. Cons: imported status increases regulatory vulnerability. Standard magazine capacity exceeds new state limits. Premium price becomes harder to justify under restrictions. Replacement parts could become difficult to obtain. Regulatory agencies may impose limits without new legislation. Typical price range: $500 to $700. Number 4. Canik TP 9mm series. Affordable high-performance handguns from overseas are becoming harder to find, and the Canik 9mm lineup may soon be one of the biggest casualties. For many working-class Americans, these pistols have been a gateway to reliable self-defense without the premium price tag, and that access is now under threat. Canik changed the market by delivering features that were once reserved for pistols costing hundreds more. Factory triggers that feel competition-ready, accurate barrels built for consistency, and reliability that stands shoulder to shoulder with handguns priced well above their class. That combination forced the entire industry to pay attention. New gun owners especially gravitated toward Canik because of the value. For roughly $400, buyers often walked out of the store with not just a pistol, but a holster, spare magazines, and basic maintenance gear included. That made personal protection realistic for families who couldn't justify spending twice as much on a single handgun. The TP9 series took off quickly with massive adoption across the US market. Its success proved that dependability doesn't have to come with a luxury price tag, and that you don't need to pay premium brand money to trust a pistol for defensive use. Now that success may be working against it, proposed federal policies increasingly target imported semi-automatic handguns, using sporting purpose language that puts Turkish-made firearms under special scrutiny. These efforts aren't just about domestic gun policy. They're also tied to broader trade and geopolitical tensions. Pros: outstanding value in the $350 to $500 range. Build quality competes with much more expensive pistols. High-capacity magazines in full-size models. Excellent factory trigger, often sold as a complete package with accessories. Cons: imported status increases regulatory risk. Low price attracts restrictive import classifications. Magazine capacity exceeds limits in restrictive states. Import bans could eliminate availability overnight. Budget-conscious buyers lose access to reliable options. Typical price range: $350 to $500. When affordable, dependable pistols disappear from the market, it's not collectors who feel it first. It's everyday Americans who simply want a reliable way to protect their families. Number 3. Taurus G3C. One of the most widely carried budget pistols in America is now squarely in lawmakers' sights. If the latest bans move forward, hundreds of thousands of everyday Americans could lose access to a self-defense option that is both affordable and proven. The Taurus G3 has taken over the budget concealed carry space for a simple reason. It delivers real-world performance at a price regular working people can actually afford. For years, Taurus struggled with its reputation. The G3 changed that narrative by bringing major upgrades in quality control, durability testing, and customer support, closing the gap with pistols that cost several $100s more. People who carry daily appreciate the G3's balance. It's compact enough to stay hidden under a t-shirt, yet large enough to shoot confidently and accurately in a high-stress defensive situation. That balance is exactly why it's become a go-to choice for first-time buyers and experienced carriers alike. Now the pistol is facing pressure from multiple angles. Magazine limits put its standard 12-round capacity above legal thresholds in restrictive states. At the same time, renewed political focus on so-called low-cost handguns places the G3 directly in the crosshairs because of its affordable price point. Pros, and one of the most affordable, reliable concealed carry pistols available. 12-round capacity in a compact, manageable frame. Major improvements in Taurus reliability and consistency. Excellent size for daily concealed carry. Accessible option for budget-conscious buyers. Cons: low price attracts renewed Saturday night special targeting. Imported manufacturing increases regulatory exposure. Magazine capacity exceeds 10-round limits in some states. Availability threatened by overlapping restrictions. Working families lose access to affordable personal defense. Typical price range: $250 to $350. When lawmakers focus on price instead of performance, it's not criminals who lose access. It's responsible citizens who rely on affordable tools to protect themselves and their loved ones. Number 2. Glock 17. The handgun that helped define modern law enforcement is now facing the possibility of being off-limits to ordinary citizens. The Glock 17, long considered the global benchmark for duty pistols, is being pulled into a wave of restrictions with consequences that reach far beyond one brand or model. When Glock introduced its polymer frame design in the 1980s, it completely disrupted the handgun world. At a time when most service pistols were heavy, metal-framed, and limited in capacity, the Glock 17 offered something radically different: lighter weight, higher capacity, and unmatched mechanical simplicity. That combination forced police agencies to rethink what a service pistol could be. Departments around the world adopted the Glock 17 because of one thing above all else: reliability. Whether exposed to mud, sand, water, extreme cold, or rough handling, the pistol earned a reputation for functioning when others failed. That track record is why it became standard issue for countless police and military units across multiple continents. Civilians followed the same logic. Millions of Americans chose the Glock 17 for home defense because it mirrored what professionals carried on duty. The reasoning was simple: if it's trusted by officers facing armed threats every day, it's a solid choice for protecting a family at home. Now, new legislation threatens that legacy. In California, proposed measures are written broadly enough to affect the entire Glock lineup, not just a single model. The argument centers on internal design features that lawmakers claim make the platform unacceptable, placing even full-size duty pistols like the Glock 17 at risk of prohibition. Pros: legendary reliability in harsh conditions. 17-round standard capacity for home defense. Proven service record with law enforcement worldwide. Simple, durable design that's easy to maintain. Over 4 decades of real-world use. Cons: broad legal definitions target the platform's internal design. Entire Glock lineup affected, not just one model. State-level bans approaching quickly in some regions. No new compliant versions expected. Secondary market prices likely to surge. Typical price range: $500 to $650. When a pistol trusted by professionals across the globe is restricted for civilians, it raises a serious question. Are these laws about safety or about limiting access regardless of proven performance? Number 1. Glock 19. The most widely owned handgun in America is now at the center of one of the biggest legal battles in modern firearms history. With an estimated tens of millions of units in civilian circulation, the Glock 19 isn't just popular, it's foundational to American gun culture, and that's exactly why proposed bans targeting it are sending shockwaves across the country. The Glock 19 earned its status by doing everything well. It's compact enough to conceal comfortably, yet large enough to serve as a duty pistol. It's accurate enough for competitive shooting, manageable enough for new owners, and dependable enough for professionals whose lives depend on their gear. Few firearms, if any, can claim that kind of versatility. That reputation didn't happen by accident. Federal agencies issue it. Protective services rely on it. Specialized military units have chosen it as a personal sidearm. And millions of ordinary Americans carry it daily for personal protection and home defense. When one pistol works across every category of user, it stops being a niche product and becomes the standard. Now that standard is under direct threat. In California, new legislation is written in a way that targets the internal operating system common to Glock pistols. While the language focuses on mechanical design and theoretical modifications, the practical outcome is sweeping. All Glock models, including the Glock 19, are affected. If implemented as written, the restriction would take effect in mid-2026 and would shut down new sales, transfers, and future availability within the state. Pros: ideal size balance for both concealed carry and duty use. 15-round capacity in a compact, controllable frame. Exceptional reliability with decades of real-world use. Trusted by military, law enforcement, and civilians alike. Massive user base with a long, proven track record. Cons: state-level bans scheduled to take effect in mid-2026. Design features place the entire platform under restriction. Future transfers and resale may be prohibited. Risk of similar laws spreading to other states. Market prices likely to rise sharply. Typical price range: $500 to $700. And that brings us to the bigger picture. From budget-friendly carry pistols to the most iconic handgun ever produced, 10 widely used firearms are facing serious legal challenges heading into 2026. These changes don't just affect manufacturers, they affect millions of lawful owners across the country. If you want to stay ahead of what's changing, where it's changing, and how it could affect you, make sure you're subscribed and notifications are on. The legal landscape is shifting fast, and being informed has never mattered more.